So you might be wondering where we are. This is Built headquarters. This is the new Built headquarters, and really the first one. We've been taking on more projects, they've been bigger projects, and we needed a bigger space, so this is it. And we're gonna be doing our first build in here today. The Titan needed some work. Well, we hacked it up to get the wheels on, and we need to do something to make it look better, and I am so stoked about it today because we're gonna be putting on some Fiberworks fender flares and bedsides. It's gonna look sick. If you're wondering about the building, I just posted a video on my second channel that a lot of you guys probably don't know exists called Built 2. We'll link that up right here, and you can see this building, you can see how I cleaned it up to this point, and kind of what my plans are going forward. That video just went up when this one went up. So check that out now, check it out after this one. I don't really care, but if you're interested in knowing about this building and what we're gonna be doing in here and about that, then check that video out after you watch this one. Let's do it. We are going to be heading to the new shop. This is like my first day in it, so I don't know, the video that I released hasn't come out yet, like in the present, but it will have come out by the time you see this. So I don't know how much I've gotten done there, so maybe moving backwards in time, but I just got the shop. Today's my first day to go there to try to work. I've loaded up everything I think I need to disassemble the front suspension of the truck. So we're gonna go over there and work there and see how it goes, see how it feels. It's a new chapter. I'm not gonna film the drive over there because I'm by myself and the truck's loaded up with stuff. So let's just cut to the new place now.
Yep, that's the map here.
Yeah, just straight down the back. It's like a Here we are. This is the new Built HQ, and it's very echoey, I'm already noticing. I don't know if we're gonna fix that. The lighting in here is great as long as the sun's up, because you get this light through the door. When the sun goes down, I bet it's gonna be pretty dark, but I learned with my shop how to fix that with lighting, and so we'll fix that. That's no big deal. But if you wanna see where this shop actually is today, click this video up here. That'll be video part 1 of cleaning this shop out, where we started with, and where we're at, and then some of the plans about what we're doing as well. What we do need to fix desperately is our clearance. You might have noticed, I don't even know if I've showed videos of this, but I've got to make like 30-point turns in this thing. I've got to get turned around because I just can't turn the wheels lock to lock. I'm missing about a half turn on the steering wheel, which is a lot, especially in slow, like when you're not really moving very fast. And it's all coming from the back of the wheel. We could push the wheel forward with some caster, and we may do that, but I really would rather just have enough clearance no matter what, so we can set our alignment up however we want, and won't have to worry about rubbing or anything like that. We're gonna start pulling suspensions parts out of this thing so that we can figure out our clearance better. Let's do it. And we're out. Boom. We look up in here, we've got clearance, which is good. So this is squatted all the way down. If we hit a jump, this is where the tire's stopping. Now, some things I thought about is if we wanted to, we could lop a bunch of this off up in here and do some tube bracing up across here to gain some clearance. I think that would be fine. I think it would be safe. I'm gonna have to look at some other tube trucks to see how they do that. I don't really want to tube the entire front end and deal with all the mounting and all that stuff. But we could maybe just do this, reinforce this with something real thick and make it thinner. I don't know. It looks like we won't really need to. The next thing we're gonna have to do is start turning the wheels and just see where all we're gonna hit. Our biggest issue has been right here, but looking at it, it looks like we may hit like right up in here too. I don't know, we're gonna have to see. Interesting, you would think with that much drop, our problem area would kind of move upward, but this is still clearing. Surprisingly, it's clearing right there. I did not think that was gonna clear. And again, if it ends up not, we can fix it, no big deal. But we're still hitting down there at the bottom. Right there, hitting. So, that's good to know. If we bottom our suspension all the way out, we'll still be able to turn the wheels without any issues, except for this area right here, which we knew. So I've got to figure out what I want to do about that. I think we may have to add some caster to move the wheel forward. I don't know. I just don't know. I think the move is going to be to try to cut back to where the door welds in right here, and then make a patch panel and cut all that, just make it flat right there. And maybe carry that up to like here, I don't know. But something I can do in the meantime is get the carpet out of the way. If we are gonna be cutting and welding, we don't want carpet because carpet catches on fire. So I'm gonna pull that out of the way. And while I do that, I'll think about how we're gonna handle this whole situation. So I needed to get some metal out of the way. I decided the easiest way to do that was to just start cutting and then fix it after I got done. So I cut big sections out where the wheel was hitting the inner fender and welded in some patch panels. I made these patch panels out of the fender material because it's 18 gauge steel and I figured it would work just fine. After welding in those panels, I wanted to make sure that they were completely sealed from water, so I went over it with some fiberglass filler. After the filler had dried, I went over that with some Flex Seal, which is probably overkill, but I just want to make sure that these patch panels are completely sealed. Now, I may change this later on. I'm not really sure. I don't think this will be the final iteration of this solution, but it is what I'm going to do for now. Now that we have enough clearance, I want to move on to the back of the car. I need to get some material out of the way so I know what I'm dealing with putting this bed on. The original panel is made to be bonded instead of the existing panel, but I want to bond it on top. So I'm going to just cut some stuff away and see what's under here and see if we can make this thing work as a bolt-on bedside rather than a bond-on, I guess. start by saying this, the fitment of this bedside is exact. And by that, I mean, what is meant to happen is you're meant to pull the bed off, drill out all the spot welds, and literally bond this in place of your stock bed. But I didn't really like that idea for this build specifically because this is not a truck that's gonna live, it's not gonna live, I'm hopeful that it will live as much of its life off-road as it does on-road. And because of that, if I bust one of these, I don't want it to take a full day or more to fix if one gets busted or if I have to replace it. I want to be able to unbolt it, throw another one on, and hit the trail again. And so my whole goal here was to be able to build something that can bolt on and off of this bed. Now, later on we may build a bed out of tubing or do something kind of crazy and make mounts and all that stuff so it's easier. I don't know, but for now, I'm just kind of having to build in stages. So what I did, I tested this on the other side, is I cut everything. Now, doing it this way, because I'm mounting on top of something rather than replacing the bed, this thing sits about, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch forward, the thickness of the fiberglass basically, forward from where it should. And so I had to cut a little bit extra off the back, so the bed's actually gonna be like 1/8 of an inch shorter, which is fine to me. Cut a little bit extra off of the back, and then what else did we do? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do some trimming on the fender itself, which is fine. Some stuff that doesn't work with this method is the bumper cutout, but that's okay. We're building custom bumpers, and I'm gonna take this and cut it right here because visually this looks really heavy to me. You've got this giant 37-inch tire, and now we've got this big, just burly bedside, which I think looks awesome, but I just feel like it's too heavy, like right here, just to look at. So I'm gonna cut it about right here, and then we may do some stuff with the paint to make it look less enormous as well. I don't know, it depends on how it looks after we cut it. So I'm gonna come in, I already made a relief cut up here so the bed can slot down in the front, and all of that fits perfectly, which is awesome. I'm gonna make some cuts back here to allow this to kind of pull back just a little bit more and slot into place. And when it's all said and done, this thing should just hold itself on the truck. Now we use some bolts, but I think we're gonna be able to hide all of our hardware, which I'm really excited about. So we'll use some sort of bolt down here. We'll use some on the inside railing of the bed. And then I may end up having to make a mount for this little corner piece back here. It just depends on how sturdy everything feels. If that's the case, we'll just weld a piece of tubing on back there or something and use that as a mount. So the only thing that you would see a mount on is back here, which I think is pretty cool. Should look super clean. As far as the quality of these, I have something to aspire to now. For you guys that are maybe here for trucks and you didn't know that I build cars, I do a lot of fiberglass work, and seeing the quality of this fiberglass makes me super jealous. I want to learn how to make parts that look like this, from the inside and the out. On the inside, it looks like they've used several different kinds of cloth to build up a bunch of strength, and these are super, super sturdy. But then on the outside, I mean, this finish is just like, you don't even have to paint it. I will, but you don't have to. It's just so, so smooth and perfect feeling. So, very impressed. All right, we're gonna cut some more stuff up. That's what we've been doing this whole video, and get this thing to fit right. And then I'll show you guys the other side, and then we can move on to the front. All right, there we go. So it is on, it's not going anywhere. You can see if I lift up on it, the whole truck shakes. But nothing's mounted, it's just pressure that's holding it in place right now. Now in the back, we're loose. That's because we've got no mounting, no pressure or anything on the bottom, on the back rear. So we are gonna make some fender supports that'll come out from maybe the bed, maybe the frame, and hit the inside of the fender to push it out. We'll probably attach those right here, just like you would have in any sort of stock truck application. Down here is really sturdy, so we may not even need a support down there. We might get one just to help us with alignment. But overall, I think it looks really, really good. Especially considering this is gonna be a thing that I can pull off in like a few minutes. So that's pretty awesome. We've got to get it to slide back about 1/8 of an inch, and that's gonna come from trimming underneath here a little bit more. I left it a little bit longer than the other side, and that's keeping this down here from sitting down. So we'll trim that before we get into the final mounting, but I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. That was a big job. All right, back to the front. So the fronts will be mounted the proper way, the way they were intended, unlike the rears. And I just want to show you something that I thought was amazing. All of my bolts are still in their spots. So it's not going to fit perfect, but the fitment is just insane. I really want to just put it on. I don't have a drill. Anyway, so this one, you can see it holds itself on the car. There's bolts in the way that's keeping it held out this 1/4 of an inch, but what we'll do is we'll just drill some holes in the mounting, bolt this thing on, it'll be good to go.
And it's getting better all the time.
Look at that.
Like a glove.
That's a pretty...
So they custom made these for this truck.
Yes,
For you.
specific. Well, they make this as like a kit. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is really impressive.
Seamless.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so that hole makes sense. These I'm gonna have to mark. You gonna hold this up there?
Yep.
Thanks, dog.
Yeah, bruh. Through over here.
What's that?
Came through over here.
That's wide, Kyle. Woo! It's a wide boy.
She thick, bruh.
What a cool thing.
6 and 9.
Look how... Oh man, that is cool. Man.
That's the kind of thing I lose sleep. It's just best to go ahead and just do it.
Yep, just cut it.
Thinking about it.
Cut it, and if you break it, you just fix it. Yeah, I remember the first car that I cut up was my MR2. It took me a really long time. See, like, this is serious what they're making, dude. That's real fiberglass.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so like this little cut, I'll just sand and it should be good.
Oh yeah.
Touching it.
More?
Yeah. Are we off?
What's up?
Yeah, dude, that's full bump. Let's go.
Full what?
Full bump. It's bumped out like on the bolt stops, as low as it can go. We're not hitting nothing.
Nothing.
You can see we got plenty of turning clearance back there. That's what we just cut out, and then I had to cut some clearance up front too. I think these are made for 35s. If I had to guess, most of the Titans that are long travel run 35s. The back end is way up, so we don't have any shocks in it, so it's just reacting. Looking cool. So I think we're cleared out in the front. I cleared everything out in the rear. It's still not bolted on. They're just sitting on there, so I've got some bolts to put on there. And then we'll have to reattach our gas can. I went and sat this in here just to look. The fitment is pretty much perfect like everything else, so very impressed so far. All right, now we gotta see if our wheels turn. Check nations. Need to reconnect the sway bars too, that'll give us a little bit of height.
Dang, dude, that's still.
Looks pretty rad though. Now it's time for the final details on the bed sides. The taillights had to be moved just a little bit to accommodate for the way that I mounted the bed sides, which was no big deal. And then I wanted to make some slant cuts. I felt like the slant cuts really fit the style of this truck, and it's gonna go in well with the bumper that I'll be building in a future episode. So what I just did there is I got some round tubing just from the hardware store, hammered 2-inch flat. I mounted it to, there's a stock mounting point, so most trucks will have, I guess all trucks, I don't know, will have bed supports that keep the bed from being floppy. And that's all this is. So I bolted it to the stock point, drilled a new hole, flattened 2 ends out, bolted it to the bed, and now you can see our back of our bed used to be wobbly, now it is very, very strong. The front, because of that kind of wraparound section, I don't think we need bed supports on the front. It's just very, very sturdy. The top feels sturdy. Everything feels really, really good. So, I think that is gonna be it for install. We just gotta put our fuel door on. Now, I do have to extend the filler neck. So it goes hard line, and then there's a soft line that connects to the fuel tank. So my idea is to take it to like an auto parts store and separate those, pull the soft line out, get one that's the same diameter, and just make a longer version so it'll fit out here. We're about 3 inches, maybe 2 inches from being able to mount this. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do now what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is mount my fuel door here and here. You can see it fits beautifully. Like everything on this kit just fits so nice, and I'm very, very happy with that. So we'll just mount it right there, and that'll function just like a regular fuel door, and then we'll be able to go get our extension to pull the actual gas cap out to this point as well. So I've just got this thing loosely bolted on. I got the wrong size bolts, they're too small, so we'll have to get some new ones, but do a little bit of adjustment here to go like that. There we go, just like that. It'll work for the sake of testing. I really wish I had gotten the right ones, but I just messed up. But it's cool. That's in, so that's good. We're connected back here. I think the only thing left to do is tighten down all the front suspension, because we just kind of loosely bolted that on yesterday, and then we're ready to drive it. But I'm gonna have to go get a broom because there's tons of sharp metal and stuff underneath this truck, and I don't want to run over any of that. So we're gonna do suspension, tighten that up, sweep up, drive the truck out in the sun, and see what it looks like, and then we can clean all this crap out and get on to the next project.
Is that a new monster truck?
It's the same one, I just made it cool.
Making it white and black?
Yeah, you like it?
Not at all.
What? You don't like it?
Not at all. I don't like it.
I'm gonna paint it. That's just, the white is just the color of the parts. You know?
Took all the paint off?
No, this is new.
The new bumper?
New fenders.
Are we going to drive this?
Huh?
Are we going to drive this?
Yeah, if you want to.
We do. And I want to get in right now.
Wait.
Daddy, how do you build your new I found the chain for the gate.
What'd you say?
I found the chain.
No, what'd you say before that?
I love it, Daddy. I love it. I found the
You love
chain
it?
for the gate,
Thank
Daddy. I found the chain for the gate.
All right, that's great. All right, climb in. Oh. Well, I went and put it in gear and the shifter is broken. I can't get out of reverse. It went down into reverse and then just, I don't know. So we gotta figure this out. So now the truck won't even start until I can get it in gear. So I've gotta figure out where the selector is. This is the meanest looking thing I've built in a long time. Oh yeah, and he's back. God, I love this truck. And that one. Oh man, this road is loud. So I'm gonna have to work out filming here. This road is super loud and I just realized it now that I'm filming outside. We're gonna roll with it for now. I'll get better. Thank you guys for sticking with me through this build. It was kind of weird being in a new place, but this thing looks insane. The Fiberworks fenders fit so well. It just blew my mind how they just bolted on. So that was awesome. I think the rears came out looking great. I love the slant cut that we did. I think that looks awesome too. And overall, this thing just looks mean. So you might be wondering what's next. Well, we're gonna paint the fenders to match, so that'll be easy. When we take the fenders off to color match them, that's when I'm gonna do all of the, man, that truck's loud. Hang on. When the fenders come off for color matching, I'll do all my sanding and painting underneath. We'll probably I don't know, we'll do some kind of coating on underneath to keep all the rust from coming in and messing everything up that we just spent all that time on. But overall, I think it came out really good. But for now, I'm just gonna drive it and make sure everything fits before I go on to painting. I figured out that my little shift linkage underneath the dash was disconnected, so I reconnected it. I'll be fixing that so that we won't have this issue again with it not driving. But as of now, it's driving really, really great. I'm so stoked how it's turned out. I hope you guys are as excited as I am about this new building. Remember, if you haven't seen the video yet on Built 2, my other channel, I'll link it right up here. I go through kind of this building, what we're gonna be using it for, how we cleaned it out, and everything that's gonna be happening here. This is gonna be the new location. And I'm gonna be posting weekly. Man, these cars are loud. I hope you guys, if this isn't usable, I'm sorry. Anyway, we're gonna be posting weekly on updates on the Built 2 channel of what we're doing in this shop, kind of getting it ready and getting it built to work for the channel. I'm very, very excited. We have needed more space for a very long time, and it is such an awesome blessing to have a bigger space. All right, I think that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are as stoked as I am about how big this truck is and how awesome it looks, and I'll see you in the next one.